Guo Bingwen is not a pure product of China, nor is a pure product of the United States. So he is a mixed product of both countries. So he should let both educators from both countries to reflect. Maybe only jointly we can produce someone like that. So how can we join together? So questions and fires and arguments and claims. Okay. Before I say anything, I want to thank Chen Davis, Carolyn, and also Meng Zhang for endless endurance to make this happen. And we're really happy to be here. Without you guys, we won't be here. I'm not trying to suck up. I'm just trying to say the truth. Oh, you want to say?
Yeah, I have a question about, I want to ask David, because I read your paper. I'm more interested to know what did the Guo Bingwen did in your school and the college period time. I'm very impressed, and I would like you to give us some more information, if you could.
Well, I didn't want to necessarily give you a laundry list of the things he did at Worcester, but he entered Worcester in the preparatory program and advanced actually very rapidly, so that he didn't even have to have a full 4 years in the university itself. And from the look of his transcript, which I didn't include, yeah, I mean, maybe his grades weren't all A's, okay, but I don't know. He seems to have moved along very rapidly. In addition, the fact that he was a prize-winning speaker in oratorical contests, I mean, is pretty amazing. I mean, his English must have been pristine, pure, and he knew how to frame an argument. He also took courses in what was called the Bible and Missionary Training School, which was a kind of a Bible school. And I think that informed some of what he became too. But the most interesting thing to me about what he did was his membership in various societies, a couple which were literary societies, and he gave presentations, one of which was the one on speaking out against discrimination in the case of the Chinese in the United States. But he was part of this peace association, which was connected with international societies for the promotion of peace. This was before the First World War. And of course, after the Great War, a lot of this sort of, faded into the background, I think, but I assume that it was still part of his thinking. The other thing I'd like to say is, we get a picture of Guo Bingwen in terms of his achievements. And I don't know, I'm throwing caution to the winds. Is Renee here by any chance? Oh, okay, there you are. Well, there's a movie that some of you know called Citizen Kane. And at the beginning of the movie, which is a film biography, one of the reporters asks, well, who was Charles Foster Kane? Is it based on what he acquired, his achievements? You can't quite pin it down. And the more I looked at what Guo Bingwen did, this is why I was moved by Carolyn's statement about the wind-up toys. I mean, I'd kind of like to know what kind of person he was, too, because in the case of Citizen Kane, you're trying to figure out, well, now, what drove this politician, journalist? What was behind what he did? And it's awfully hard, to figure these things out. But I think there's something more than just the fact that he participated in the Bible school or the Peace Association or a couple of literary societies or he won speaking contests. There's more to him than that. And I think once we can find a little bit more about him in a personal sense, then maybe we can talk about individuals we know who are driven in significant ways toward improving education.
That's motivation.
Okay. Amateur psychology.
Okay. I want to give my understanding of Guo Bingwen. And then first, I think his strengths, and then his political environment. The strength, I think, lies in three parts. One is his religious background, which is the Christian background. He graduated from the high school from Shanghai called Pure Heart. And the second thing is his strong liberal arts background, which is very important. I believe, from my research, I think liberal arts and humanity is the foundation of all creativities. All these things foster all creativities. And the third part, which is a very important thing of Guo Bingwen, which is very significant, his great contribution to education is his four balance. When I think, if I summarize that four balance principle, it actually is a balance between realism and idealism. So Guo Bingwen looks like he is an idealist because his Christian background. At the same time, he was deeply influenced by Dewey, which is a pragmatism.
So what is your question?
So my question is, if we want to really build up a Guo Bingwen, we have to build up a strength with three characters. The second part, which is very important, the political environment in China. When he went to China, he was appointed by Jiang Qian.
We only have 5 minutes, I'm sorry. And go to the core point. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be rude, but
Okay, all right. So my question is, how can we build up someone like this at TC? That's something we need to think about at TC.
and in China, because he was largely educated by China before he came here.
Right.
So what implication it has to China? What about our current educational practice, and also our test-driven system and our evaluation system? Can we produce next Guo Bingwen from China and then coming here? And also, what about ourselves as well? So, any other questions and insights?
I had an opportunity of editing Wang Qingting's autobiography. And I came away as an American with an impression not just of his travels to Yale in 1906, but the entire population of Chinese students who came just before the revolution and immediately after the revolution. And I would suggest that, the emphasis here has been on the educational system. But these people came to this country with something ahead of time. They seem to have had almost a combined passion for their country. And they were remarkable men, and in fact, a few women. The first women physicians were trained in this country. But they seem to have come with a passion for their country. And I would suggest that, more than anything else, is what drove them.
我个人认为，这个中国教育的主大问题，不是孩子，是家长。各位专家对家长有什么，就是能不能在教育家长做工作？
Agree with you more, because not long ago I had a conversation with Chinese students, just have a conversation about their studying here. And at the end, this conversation become a, what can I say, 家长那个声讨大会. Okay, so they all complain about their parents, become a parents complaining meeting, because they all talk about how they haven't given them the skill they can survive at TC. And then I was saying, grow up, you're over 20 years old now, and now it's your responsibility to grow yourself. Even though parents did not do a good job, and then you should be a better parent than your parents. And so what kind of parents are we educating? I do agree, educational system should also involve educating parents as well. And are there any other are there any other questions, points? So, Dr. Wei Yu, I think you can have a lot to say about who's next Guo Bingwen, I'm sure. So we can also talk during the break. Because all what you are doing is trying to produce next Guo Bingwen in your hands-on, the learning by doing all these other philosophies and practice, and also generating next generation of scientists. Too complicated, that's true, yeah.
Hi, I'm a student at TC, and I'm always interested in education, doing education reform. That's the reason why I come to TC to study. Since the time has been changed, and it's not the same time as he came back to China and doing the same reform. And then for students who has overseas studying background, and then when we go back to China now and straightforward after graduation, it's not the same opportunity and situation. So I wonder, what do you think are the practical ways that we can actually contribute to the education reform in nowadays? Thank you.
So there is a saying, be careful about a wolf wearing the sheep clothes, because even though on the surface it's changed, but it maybe deep down it isn't.
Actually, I don't want to say, but after this girl said, I really want to say, in the present China, learn outside is no problem. Just as money. Yeah, if you have money, you go out. Or you have a scholarship, you go out. Only you have to ask you why you came out. What you want to contribute to science, to what, or to the country. You have not lost the goal, lost the passion. Every people can become Guo Bingwen, next Guo Bingwen. Don't say that. We have no future. We back no opportunity to do these things. Big things or small things contribute to the mankind, to the peace, to the future, particularly for the country. They have many people still poor. That's what I say. If we say, I come out to study, no goal, no future. Why you come here? Motivation.
Exactly. So.
Well, thank you, Madam Wei Yun. I just want to follow up with, for all the young people here, it is passion. And I realize it does take time to find that passion. And once you have it, and whether it's focused on our country, which is a very good place to start, and we want to help, then that's a good place. And then from there, the ideas will come. Thank you.
Okay. Hold on.
Yeah, I just say one word. I think one word make Guo Bingwen outstanding, and we should follow up with his step and his legacy, responsibility. I think you just think about the responsibility. One word, passion with your responsibility. What is your responsibility? It's for yourself, you should be responsible. For your family, for your own country. So if everybody concerned, only think about yourself, you forgot the big picture. You were lost entirely direction. So I think everything is there. Just grab it, take responsibility. When the faculty give you, teach you, and what you should do, you should respond very, very seriously. And right now in China, many family has money, but the money is not the good things for you to think about right now. You need to save every penny, and you need to learn from Guo Bingwen how much money he has when he came to this country. And then when he went back, he faced tremendous challenge, and he got fired. But he came back again to United States, then continue promote between the two countries. Lots of the things he did. So we need to think about your responsibility. If we do that, you were successful. Also, you will not fail and complain everything, not yourself.
So with that, I have to conclude this session because that great lady told me, stop, stop, stop. So thank you very much.
We are almost there. We have come to the last part of our symposium, the closing remarks. We have two speakers. The first one is Thomas Wu, Vice President of China Institute.
Thank you, Montang. And I want to thank everyone who has been part of this event today, all the speakers who've given a very interesting talk, and a great big thank to Carolyn for being the real impetus and push behind this really, a year-long work that has finally come to fruition. I had written a speech that may be in some of your materials, and I think I'm going to deviate from that. It's been too interesting a day just to sort of spout a little bit about the things that I had, but I'm going to make some observations and then make one advertisement. I've learned an awful lot today about Guo Bingwen and the man he was, though as David Galicia, close enough. Noted, it's a little bit like learning who John Foster Kane was in the movie Citizen Kane. Obviously a very driven man who's done amazing things, and who, at least as I can tell, came to the United States, was imbibed with many of the philosophies and learning techniques in the US, and then brought that back to China, and thus changed education in China. But I've also heard some other things today that were quite interesting. From Professor Liang Yiping, who learned that there are many, many foreign students today coming across the globe, and that most of them seem to be coming from places like Asia to the United States. At the same time, she observed we are moving towards global education. And the question is, what is that global education going to be like? Is it going to be more of what we would consider the West to be a Western education? Is this triumph of the West? Or is it going to be truly a global education? So when I come now to the question that we've just been asking ourselves, who will be the next Guo Bingwen? I want to ask, who will be the next American Guo Bingwen? Who will be the American who goes to China and learns and studies and brings that back to his own country? It's too late for me, I'm afraid. We're going to need somebody a little bit younger, I'm afraid. But I think that's one of the questions that we should be asking ourselves. What is it mean then going to be globalized? And how will China, its culture, its civilization, its education, all contribute to that? Okay? And I guess I look at that sort of way I've changed over my lifetime. I think back to when I was in school and was studying the history of civilization. Well, civilization, as we learned in those days, started in Egypt, went to Greece and Rome, then there was the Renaissance, and then America. And there were a bunch of sort of satellite countries like South America, China, Africa, Tasmania, things like that, that you sort of studied, when you did. And even when I started learning Mandarin, which was back in the days after Richard Nixon's visit to China, I tell people this and they think I was studying something as useful as Icelandic. Even in those days, sophisticated New Yorkers would ask me why the Chinese had changed the name of their capital from Peking to Beijing. But as we know, today everything has changed. China is now on the world scene. It's growing at lightning speed, and it has grown exponentially. And also, the internet and technology has given us both instant access to the other, so that we see news, film, television shows, and music all available at the flick of a switch. And we can all now communicate in ways that are so incredible and unbelievable even just a few years ago. And so with that increasing interconnectivity between the US and China, the need for mutual understanding and cooperation is more important than ever, hence my advertisement for China Institute. How can one understand a country, especially one as large, complex, and fascinating as China, without a knowledge of its language, its art, its culture, and its people? And that's where China Institute does come in. We could educate Americans in Mandarin. We do arts exhibitions, cultural presentations, and a variety of things to bring China to life for Americans. And I would also say that in some ways we may actually bring some of that to life for Chinese. We, at the moment, have an exhibition going on about an event during the Cultural Revolution. And when I have seen Chinese come to that show, I've seen many of them learn a lot about their recent history as well. So we really want the China Institute to be a place of communication between China and the United States. One where it isn't simply learning about an exotic country across on the other side of the globe, but really learning about another culture and another people, and where we can exchange our ideas, send Americans over to China so that they learn about China as well, so that hopefully in the future, there will not be just a Guobing One, but maybe an American one and a Chinese one, and from all other countries as well. Okay, so thank you very much.
Our last speaker is Bill Kai-Yuan Wang, a supporter of the symposium.
大家肯定都累了啊，开了一天的会了。那我站在这里呢，有2个身份，一个身份是使得我站在这里，其实我做的贡献比徐小姐小得多，但是徐小姐还是让我站在这里了。但是我不想以那个身份说话，我想以另外一个身份说话。今天绝大部分在这里演讲的人都是教师或者是教育者，而我呢，被教育者，一个学生。所以我在这里以一个学生的角度听了1天的课 ，give some comments， 这样。我想请大家注意一下后面这堵墙。我今天上午问了苏珊，这个墙后面上面刻的是什么？苏珊一开始说不知道，后来查了一下，说好像是圣经上的一些智者的名字。它说明了什么？说明只有思想的力量可以穿越时空。那因此，我们回到前面这张屏幕，我们今天在这讨论郭炳文，纪念郭炳文，讨论他的教育思想，是因为什么？因为教育塑造人的灵魂，引导人的心理，发现每一个人的潜质，使他能够更好地融入社会，获得美好的生活。而郭炳文是最早的这样的探索者，他又不是简单的一般的教师这样的探索者，他是教育资源的整合者，因此他是教育家。在这个世界上，企业家如过江之青，科学家灿若星辰，但是教育家，大家可以数一数，我们知道的教育家有多少？我们知道，在中国能够数得出来的，胡适、马寅初，马寅初也是毕业在这里。哥大产生了我2个最重要的母校，4位校长。我既是东南大学的校友，我在那读了4年；我也是北大的校友，我在那读了2年。北大有3位校长是哥大产生的。当然，我现在是哥大的访问学者，我在这里做了2年，明年准备去哈佛，在这里做1年。我想说的是，教育家是这个社会最珍惜、最稀少的资源。所以在座如果能在教育学院学习，你们一定要打开你们的视野，你们一定要拓展你们的胸怀，因为做一个教育家，没有胸怀，没有视野，是绝对不可以的。南北战争打完了以后，南方的州和北方能够坐在一起，共同商量建国。我们到现在，我们的阵营还是分作今天下午是台湾的学者，今天上午是大陆的学者。当然，徐小姐，我特别感谢你，你让中国的学者和美国的学者今天在这里在一起，进行了这么样一场富有启发性的，对整个中国的教育的高等教育的历史进行回顾的这样的一场研讨会，所以我深深的感谢。我想补充2个平衡，我们的校长说了4个平衡，那么对于高等学校的教育，我想提出一个新的一个平衡，就是学校的师资和社会贤达的教育，走进课堂的教育，这样的一种平衡。那么作为一个个人，我也给大家一个建议，还应该有一个平衡，就是公益与公利的平衡。我觉得徐小姐他们家族在这方面做得特别好，公益和公利的平衡。最后我想说，虽然我不是一个思想者，但是我愿意像一面镜子一样 去反射思想者的光芒。虽然我们不能成为太阳，但是我们应该成为一面镜子，去反射太阳的光芒。我想这就是教育学院教育者和我们每个人都可以去做到的。谢谢大家。
All right. I'd like to spend a few minutes to give thanks and also to make some announcements. I'm not making the thanks on my behalf, but for everybody. First, we would like to thank everyone for coming. It's been a warm, moderate, sunny Saturday outside. But you have all spent 8 hours inside. And thank you very much for your patience. We would like to thank the 3 organizers, TC, the CV Star East Asian Library at Columbia, and the China Institute, and especially Caroline Xu Bose for helping to push and make this possible. We'd like to thank various people at Teachers College. We'd like to start with our president, Susan Furman. We have strong support from the very top, and that's very important. We'd like to thank Chan Davis, who's actually the real driving force for a lot of things. And this symposium would not have been possible without her pushing for it. We'd like to thank the TC faculty, students, and staff for all their hard work. We'd like to thank the delegation from Southeast University, people from other parts of China, participants from Taiwan, and other participants from outside of the United States. And we'd like to thank other people from the United States who have participated and contributed in some way. Thanks. Okay, thanks, and have a safe trip back.